Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the corner. It's your loyal and faithful host providing you, or actually not providing, but I'm serving. Father above is the provider. I'm just helping him serve you another wholesome meal, another heaping portion of the spiritual meal that will help nourish our bodies in this battle field on earth, ruled by the evil one. Glory be to the Most High God. How you guys are doing on this Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. Hopefully you guys have had a great day or are having a great day. Today I have 5 chapters for you, 3 main ones, 2 supplemental. In chronological order, I got Genesis 22, I got Joshua 4, I got Isaiah 40, I got John chapter 1, and I got Hebrews 6. Both John and Hebrews both reference Genesis and Isaiah respectively. So that's why I'm covering those 2 chapters in addition. If you like what this channel is standing for, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video comes. Also, like and comment if you want, but my thing is to share, most importantly, share these words of God, Most High God, so other people can receive the same benefit that you're receiving, the willing ones anyway. Glory be to God. I read from the Common English Bible translation. You can find that in the YouVersion app or any other translation that suits your fancy. It's found in the App Store or Google Play, depending on the device that you use. That said, let's get started with Genesis 22. I repeat, Genesis 22. After these events, God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. God answered, I'm here. God said, take your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah. Offer him up as an entirely burnt offering there on one of the mountains that I will show you. God got up early. Dad. Abraham got up early in the morning and harnessed his donkey and took 2 of his young men with him, together with his son Isaac. God split the wood for the entirely burnt offering, set out, and went to the place God had described to him. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place at a distance. Abraham said to his servants, stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will walk up there, worship, and then come back to you. Abraham took the wood for the entirely burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac. He took the fire and the knife in his hand, and the 2 of them walked on together. Isaac said to his father, Abraham, my father. Abraham said, I'm here, my son. Isaac said, here's the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb for the entirely burnt offering? Abraham said, the lamb for the entirely burnt offering, God will see to it, my son. The 2 of them walked on together. They arrived at the place God had described to him. Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He tied up his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham stretched out his hand and took the knife to kill his son as a sacrifice. But the Lord's messenger came out to Abraham from heaven. Abraham, Abraham. Abraham said, I'm here. The messenger said, don't stretch out your hand against the young man and don't do anything to him. And now know that you revere God and didn't hold back your son, your only son, from me. Abraham looked up and saw a single ram caught by its horns in a dense underbrush. Abraham went over and took the ram and offered it as an entirely burnt offering instead of his son. Abraham named Abraham named that place the Lord sees. That is the reason people today say, on this mountain the Lord is seen. The Lord's messenger called out to Abraham from heaven a second time and said, I give my word as the Lord that because you did this and didn't hold back your son, your only son, I will bless you richly, and I will give you countless descendants, as many as the stars in the sky, and as the grains of sand in the seashore. They will conquer their enemy cities. All the nations on the earth will be blessed because of your descendants, because you obeyed me. After Abraham returned to the young man, they got up and went to Beersheba, where Abraham lived. After these events, Abraham was told, Milcah has now also given birth to your sons for your brother Nahor. They are Uz, his older son, Buz, his brother, Kemuel, the father of Aram, Chesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel. Bethuel became the father of Rebekah. These are the 8 Milcah bore for Nahor, Abraham's brother. His secondary wife's name was Remuah, and she gave birth to Tebah, Gaham, Tahash, and Makah. Forgive me if I got the pronunciations wrong. By the way, that was Genesis 22. Let's turn our Bibles to Joshua chapter 4. Joshua 4. When the entire nation was finished crossing over the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, pick 12 men from the people, 1 man per tribe. Command them, pick up 12 stones from right here in the middle of the Jordan, where the feet of the priests have been firmly planted. Bring them across with you and put them down in the camp where you are staying tonight. Joshua called for the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, 1 man per tribe. Joshua said to them, cross over into the middle of the Jordan up to the Lord your God's chest. Each of you lift up a stone on his shoulder to match the number of the tribes of Israel. This will be a symbol among you. In the future, your children may ask, what do these stones mean to you? Then you will tell them that the water of the Jordan was cut off before the Lord's covenant chest. When it crossed over the Jordan, the water of the Jordan was cut off. These stones will be an enduring memorial for the Israelites. The Israelites did exactly what Joshua ordered. They lifted 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, matching the number of the tribes of the Israelites, exactly as the Lord had said to Joshua. They brought them over to the camp and put them down there. Joshua also set up 12 stones in the middle of the Jordan, where the feet of the priests had stood while carrying the covenant chest. They are still there today. Meanwhile, the priests carrying the chest were standing in the middle of the Jordan. They stood there until every command that the Lord had ordered Joshua to tell the people had been carried out. This was exactly what Moses had commanded Joshua. The people crossed over quickly. As soon as the people had finished crossing, the Lord's chest crossed over. The priests then moved to the front of the people of Reuben, the people of Gad, and half the tribe of Manasseh crossed over, organized for war ahead of the Israelites, exactly as Moses had told them. Approximately 40,000 armed for war crossed over into the Lord's presence to the plains of Jericho, ready for battle. The Lord made Joshua great in the opinion of all Israel on that day, so they revered him in the same way that they had revered Moses during all of his life. The Lord said to Joshua, command the priests carrying the chest containing the testimony to come up out of the Jordan. So Joshua commanded the priests, come up from the Jordan. The priests carrying the Lord's covenant chest came up from the middle of the Jordan, and their soles of their feet touched dry ground. At that moment, the water of the Jordan started flowing again. It ran as before, completely over its banks. The people came up on the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month, which to us is the Gregorian month of March and April, during Passover, more or less. They camped, or around the time of Passover, I should say, not during. They camped at Gilgal on the east border of Jericho. Joshua set up stones at Gilgal. Joshua set up at Gilgal those 12 stones that they have taken from Jordan. He said to the Israelites, in the future, your children will ask their parents, what about these stones? You will let your children know Israel crossed over the Jordan here on dry ground. This was because the Lord your God dried up the water of the Jordan before you until this was because the Lord your God dried up the water of the Jordan before you until you crossed over. This is literally what it says. I'm sorry I stumbled, but I'm reading exactly what this translation is saying. This was entirely what the Lord your God did to the reed or Red Sea. He dried it up before us until we crossed over. This happened so that all the earth's people might know that the Lord's power is great, and you may always revere the Lord your God. Joshua chapter 4. I got about 3.5 minutes. 4 minutes. Let's go to Isaiah 40 real quick. And I'll come back with part 2 of the New Testament stuff, the John chapter 1 and Hebrews 6. Isaiah 40 for right now. Isaiah 40. Comfort my people, says your God. Speak compassionately to Jerusalem and proclaim to her that her compulsory service has ended, that a penalty has been paid, and she has received from the Lord from the Lord's hand double for all her sins. A voice is crying out, clear the Lord's way in the desert, make a level highway in the wilderness for our God. Every valley will be raised up, and every mountain and hill will be flattened. Uneven ground will become level, and rough terrain will a valley plain. The Lord's glory will appear, and all humanity will see it together. The Lord's mouth has commanded it. A voice was saying, call out, and another said, what should I call out? All flesh is grass. All its loyalty is like the flowers of the field. The grass dries up and the flower withers when the Lord's breath blows on it. Surely the people are grass. The grass dries up, the flower withers, but our God's word will exist forever. Go up on a high mountain, messenger Zion. Raise your voice and shout, messenger Jerusalem. Raise it, don't be afraid. Say to the cities of Judah, here is your God. Here is the Lord God, coming with strength, with a triumphant arm, bringing his reward with him and his payment before him. Like a shepherd, God will tend the flock. He will gather lambs in his arms and lift them onto his lap. He will gently guide the nursing ewes. Who has measured the water in the palm of a hand? Or God gauged the heavens with a ruler, or scooped the earth's dust in a measuring cup, or weighed the mountains on a scale and the hills in a balance? Who directed the Lord's Spirit and acted as God's advisor? Whom did he consult for enlightenment? Who taught him the path of justice and knowledge, and explained to him the way of understanding? Look, the nations are like a drop in a bucket, and valued as dust on a scale. Look, God weighs the island like a fine dust. And Lebanon doesn't have enough fuel. Its animals aren't enough for an entirely burnt offering. All the nations are like nothing before God. They are viewed as less than nothing in emptiness. So whom do you equate God? Whom will you equate God? And what likeness will you compare him? An idol, a craftsman pours it, a metal worker covers it with gold and fashions silver chains. The one who sets up an image chooses wood that won't rot, and then seeks a skilled artisan to set up an idol that won't move. Don't you know? Haven't you heard? Wasn't it announced to you from the beginning? Haven't you understood since the earth was founded? God of heavens inhabits the earth's horizon, its inhabitants are like locusts, stretched out the skies like a curtain, and spread it out like a tent for dwelling. God makes the dignitaries useless, and the earth stretches into nothing. Scarcely are planters, scarcely sown, scarcely is their shoot rooted in the earth. When God breathes on them and they dry up, the windstorm carries them off like straw. So whom will you compare to me? And who is my equal, says the Holy One. Ran out of time. I'll redo Isaiah 40 for part 2. You listen to the corner.